Sport Podcast. I'm your host, Harvey Holcomb. Are you tired of mainstream sports media talking about the same thing every day and twisting stats to make it sound like they're having a unique conversation? Well, I know I am, and that's why I made this podcast so we can go through in-depth analysis, breaking news about your favorite team. Now let's start talking about America's real sport, football. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Real American Sport Podcast. I'm your host, Harvey Holcomb. I'm so excited to do this episode. I love mock drafts, and this is the Real American Sport Mock 1.0. I don't do any trades in my mock drafts, and really what the mock drafts are going to be is what I think is going to happen, not what I would do myself. What I would do myself is very different. But this is based off of reports, based off what team needs are, based off what people are hearing. So this is kind of the very first one. Mock drafts, obviously, at the end of February are going to look very different before April 27th, 28th, 29th. They're going to look very different from those. But we're going to get started with the first pick. The Chicago Bears take quarterback Caleb Williams out of USC. I think that the Bears are going to let Justin Fields get a trade. Caleb Williams is a generational prospect. In my opinion, he's the best prospect I've seen since Andrew Luck. Yes, better than Trevor Lawrence was. I think that this guy is going to be awesome. He had a down year this year to people. I mean, throwing for 3,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, and having 11 rushing touchdowns is a down year. Please sign me up for that. I would love for that to be a down year for anybody on the New York Giants. Please. But Caleb Williams, he's a generational talent. He's going to help rebuild the Bears, and he's going to restart that clock on the quarterback contract for the Chicago Bears. And that's what I have going. The Chicago Bears taking Caleb Williams, pick number 1. At pick number 2, we have the Washington Commanders. And they're going to take quarterback Jayden Daniels out of LSU. So we have 2 Heisman winners going out pick 1 and 2. Obviously, the former Heisman winner going at pick 1, and this year's Heisman going at pick 2. Jayden Daniels is awesome. He's electric. He's fun to watch. The new owner for the Commanders should be very excited for this pick. You got a guy that had 50 total touchdowns, almost 5,000 total yards. This kid is awesome. He was first in QBR in the nation at LSU, where you're playing very tough teams in the SEC. This kid, he keeps getting compared to Lamar. I don't think that comparison is accurate. I think that he's more like Deshaun Watson when he was coming out of college. Now, Lamar had the very high run game. And Jayden Daniels has a great run game, but Lamar's, I think, was very elite. And to be compared to Lamar is tough. And it's awesome at the same time because you're being compared to a 2-time MVP. It's a lot of expectations to be put on you. But Jayden Daniels has way better of an arm than Lamar had coming out of college. He more looks like Deshaun Watson coming out of college, but more athletic than Deshaun. So that's why people instantly go to, he looks like Lamar Jackson. I think he's more like the athletic version, the more athletic version of Deshaun Watson. Pick number 2, Jayden Daniels to the Washington Commanders. They should be happy about it. Pick number 3, we have the New England Patriots. This is the first time that a quarterback was not thinking about being taken, but the Patriots are going to take quarterback Drake May out of North Carolina here. The wide receiver class is just so heavy. There's no reason to not take this guy. He's very talented. Everyone's kind of calling him Mitch Trubisky. He's a multi-year starter where Mitch Trubisky was a 1-year starter, and he looked 10 times better than Mitch Trubisky did. But New England, getting out of the Belichick era is going to now start with Drake May. Great start to it. You got pick number 3, Drake May out of North Carolina. Pick number 4, the Arizona Cardinals take generational talent Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State. Yes, generational talent. This kid is unbelievable coming out of Ohio State. Obviously, his dad played in the NFL, was a great player in the NFL. He's going to be better than his dad, I think. I don't see how he couldn't be. He's big, he's fast, he's strong, he has unbelievable hands. The Cardinals should break the record for fastest selection the moment that Drake May goes off the board, their selection should already be in. Marvin Harrison Jr. going and helping Kyler Murray in that offense in the desert. Pick number 5, we have the Los Angeles Chargers with their new head coach, Jim Harbaugh. This pick was actually tough because people don't know where they're going to go. I've seen him get Malik Neighbors. I've seen him get Joe Alt, Fashanu. I've seen him take defensive players. It sounds like they're going to take tight end Brock Bowers out of Georgia. Now, the reason why it sounds like that is that Harbaugh, when he was in San Francisco, had Vernon Davis and used Vernon Davis so much. Brock Bowers shouldn't even be considered a tight end. He should be able to be considered everything. You want him to play running back? He could do it. You want him to play wide receiver? He'll do it. He can be the X. He can be in the slot. He can do it all. This guy is awesome. I'm excited to see it. I hope he does go to the Chargers here, where he gets a guy like Herbert, gets a coach like Harbaugh, and creates another safety blanket with that deadly offense there in Los Angeles. I always want to call him San Diego. They've been out of San Diego for a while now. The Los Angeles Chargers select tight end Brock Bowers out of Georgia. At pick number 6, we have the New York Giants, and I don't agree with this selection at all. Now, I'll tell you about it anytime. I'll tell anyone that wants to hear it. It sounds like the Giants are going to go wide receiver Malik Neighbors out of LSU. I want the Giants here to take a lineman. I want them to take a tackle, specifically Joe Alt. I love Joe Alt. Joe Alt's my number 1 guy. But they take Malik Neighbors here. Malik Neighbors, the Giants really haven't had one receiver. They paid for Kenny Golladay, who turned out to be a dud. Darius Slayton's really been their number 1 receiver for the past couple years, with guys like Shep getting hurt consistently. So you see Malik Neighbors going off the board, number 6 in the New York Giants, gives Daniel Jones a number one receiver for the first time probably in his career. Malik Neighbors, number 6, out of LSU to the Giants. At pick number 7, I have the Tennessee Titans taking tackle Olu Fashanu out of Penn State. Now, Fashanu did not allow a sack in 680 pass protection snaps over the past 2 years at Penn State. That is unbelievable. This kid, only people speak highly of him. He was all academic at Penn State. This kid is awesome. He's going to be a proven leader that's going to immediately walk in, and you're going to feel his presence. He's going to protect Will Levis, who got beat up last year. Love this pick to the Tennessee Titans, even though he is my offensive lineman number 2. At pick number 8, we have the Atlanta Falcons taking the first defender of the draft, Dallas Turner, the edge out of Alabama. Now, the Falcons spent so many picks on offense in the past couple of years. You got Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake May, and it's so funny. They've had the 8th overall pick for 3 years in a row now. That is mind-boggling that happened. I don't even know how that happens, how you keep getting the 8th overall pick every year. But Dallas Turner's going to come in there. You have Raheem Morris, who just got signed, who's a defensive guy. Let Raheem Morris get his defensive player that's going to lead his defense for years to come. That's edge Dallas Turner at Alabama, who is the best player at Alabama, who's one of the best teams in the country. At pick number 9, we have the Chicago Bears taking edge Jared Verse out of Florida State. Now, the Bears got their generational talent with their first pick. Now they take the good guy on the defense. You have a guy like Jared Verse coming in. He had 9 sacks this past year for Florida State. He flashed. He gets double-teamed a lot. So those 9 sacks really could have been 14, 13 sacks this past year. But reason why this pick should be exciting to Bears fans is you saw what happened when you traded for Montez Sweat last year. Your team turned around in the second half of the season. The Bears were looking at having the 1 and 2 picks in the NFL draft, and your season turned around. Montez Sweat made a major difference. You signed him to that big contract. Now it's bringing Jared Verse to come around the other side. Bring back those Chicago teams that had terrifying defenses. You got the generational quarterback. Give him the defense to help him out. Jared Verse, pick number 9 to the Chicago Bears. At pick number 10, I have the New York Jets taking left tackle Talise Fuaga out of Oregon State. Yeah, Fuaga, who I have as offensive tackle number 4, going to the New York Jets here. By all reports, Joe Douglas, the GM of the Jets, loves this kid. Went to the Senior Bowl, watched him the whole time. Made sure to get to all of his scouts paying attention to him all year. Now, Fuaga's a very good player. He's only a 2-year starter, which can be a worry to people. I'm not so worried about it. But he didn't allow a single sack his senior season on 340 pass blocking snaps, which is incredible. Protect Aaron Rodgers. Allow him to be healthy this next year. Don't have him not worry about who's coming off the edge against him. Thais Fuaga out of Oregon State, pick number 10 to the New York Jets. At pick number 11, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking edge Laiatu Latu out of UCLA. Now, this guy's name, first of all, fun to say. Second, he is awesome. The only reason that he is edge number 3 is because he medically retired. Just like Jalen Phillips did a couple years ago. Jalen Phillips fell to pick number 18. Laiatu Latu is 10 times the prospect. This kid I only have falling to pick 11. He's so good. I wouldn't be worried about it. Obviously, we're going to find out his medicals and see if that's going to make a difference. I don't think that he's going to have an issue with his medicals. Laiatu Latu, the Vikings should be excited. They're going to lose out on Danielle Hunter. He's going to go somewhere else. He's going to replace Danielle Hunter and put up very similar production numbers. Pick number 12, finally, the best pick of the draft in my opinion. Pick number 12, the Denver Broncos take Joe Alt out of Notre Dame. Now, they got offensive lineman number 1 from me. Out of all the linemen, he is number 1. And he's my second favorite prospect on the board outside of quarterbacks. Joe Alt is going to become your franchise left tackle for the rest of his career as long as you keep him there. This guy is going to be good. You can let Garrett Bowles go, save yourself from money, especially with all this Russell Wilson stuff going on. Let Joe Alt go in there. He's a giant human that when he gets a hold of you, you're not going anywhere. You're not going to allow any sacks. You're not going to get anything. Joe Alt is the best lineman in the country, and he was graded as so as well. So pick number 12, Joe Alt, A++++ grade for the Denver Broncos. At pick number 13, I have the Las Vegas Raiders taking corner Terron Arnold out of Alabama. Now, what's crazy about this selection is Kool-Aid McKinstry, his teammate, was seen as cornerback number 1 going into the season. Kool-Aid McKinstry was going to be a top 10 pick as a corner, and Terron Arnold, his teammate, went past him, becomes the first corner taken off the board here. He had 5 interceptions and 12 pass deflections this year at Alabama. Now, he was a star. He made people realize, wow, this guy's really talented. And it's like we forget that Alabama's talented every year. This guy came in, became corner 1. The Raiders should be ecstatic that they get this guy here at pick number 13. At pick number 14, I have the New Orleans Saints taking wide receiver Rome Odunze out of the University of Washington. Now, Rome Odunze has fallen. A lot of people think that he's going in the top 10. With the way that the board kind of fell, that's not what happened. He gets taken here at pick 14. The Saints, Michael Thomas is no longer Michael Thomas as we knew him. But you have Michael Thomas as a 3 because you have Rome Odunze and Chris Olave as the 1 and 2. He is going to be awesome for the Saints. The Saints should be excited about this pick. Derek Carr should be excited about this pick. You have to have 3 corners pretty much to stop that Saints team with this selection here. At pick number 15, I have the Indianapolis Colts taking corner Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo. Now, midway through the football season, I hated this guy. I did not understand why he was a second-round pick. I was watching. I never saw anything flashy. It wasn't like he was playing bad. I just didn't find anything flashy. When you see first or second round pick, you expect, wow, that guy jumps out of the screen. He is the best player on the field. I didn't see that, but I went and saw him at the Senior Bowl, and he balled out. He lost 1 rep the entire time, and that's because he tripped. Otherwise, he didn't lose a single rep the entire time. I watched him, and I'm like, there's no way that that's the same dude. I watched the second half of his season, and man, that dude was good. I love Quinion Mitchell. I'm all on him now. He's going to be pick number 15, Indianapolis Colts. He's going to be fun. At pick number 16, We have tackle number 3 going off the board here. Seattle Seahawks taking J.C. Latham out of Alabama. Now, this pick just proves how strong this lineman draft is. We're at pick number 16, and this guy's being taken. He would have been the top offensive tackle off the board this past draft, but it just so happens that he was born a little later. This kid was awesome at Alabama. Seattle has a good left tackle in Charles Cross. We're going to put Latham at right tackle where Abraham Lucas was. Abraham Lucas had his struggles. Put J.C. Latham there. Protect Geno Smith. Allow him time to make those throws. This is going to be an exciting pick. It's not flashy. It's not at all. But, hey, Seattle should be ecstatic about this pick at number 16. At pick number 17, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking corner Nate Wiggins out of Clemson. Now, I know Clemson had a down year this year, but he's a big, athletic guy that loves to play corner. This guy can tackle, and that's the coolest thing about him. He can tackle. He only had about 6 pass deflections this year. That's because they really weren't throwing his way. So the stats may not look like a top first-round pick. This guy's good, though. Believe me, when you watch his film, you just say, wow, that guy really shuts guys down. He plays in the ACC, so it doesn't look as good as the SEC stuff. But, hey, this guy is going to be very talented. Jacksonville should be excited. It's not a flashy pick. A lot of picks in this range are not going to be flashy. This kid, give him a year or two. He's going to be cute. He's going to be cornerback 3 his rookie year. He's going to be cornerback 1 by the end of this season. I'm telling you, believe it right now. At pick number 16, we have the Cincinnati Bengals taking left tackle Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. This dude might be the fastest lineman in the draft. This dude is ridiculously fast. He is athletic, and he's going to protect Joe Burrow, who needs that protection a little bit more. Let him be a stud on the offensive line starting that week 1 to protect Burrow. You should be ecstatic about it. Pick number 19, we have the Los Angeles Rams taking my favorite center I've ever seen, Jackson Powers Johnson out of the University of Oregon. This dude does not come around often. This type of center does not come around often. First off, I've watched interviews with him. He is the nicest dude, but when he gets on that field, he isn't nice anymore. He is the type of guy that's going to put you into the ground and then go hit another guy. He's going to protect your team. He's going to be the face of your offensive line. The Los Angeles Rams should be ecstatic about this pick. He's going to be an all-pro center, and if you need him at guard, he could be an all-pro guard. At pick number 20, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking defensive tackle Byron Murphy II out of Texas. Now, he's the first D tackle off the board for a reason over Zaire Newton because, first of all, he's younger. He's a young guy. I think he turns 21 right after the draft. He's going to be a young guy, but Murphy can have some rushing coming up from the center. He had 5 sacks this past year for Texas. But, man, you get Watt coming off the edge and forces the quarterback to make a cut up the middle to make his throw. Murphy is going to love it. He's going to eat for days. Expect those 5 sacks at least his rookie year. At pick number 21, we have the Miami Dolphins. We're starting to get into teams that really have that Super Bowl. We're ready to get there. So maybe they're not taking prospect guys. They're taking more of the I'm ready, I can do anything type of thing. The Dolphins are a perfect example of this. They're going to take offensive tackle Troy Fautanu out of Washington. Now, I think Fatanu's going to slide to guard. I think he is a little undersized to be a tackle. But this dude was awesome. Washington's O-line was seen as the best O-line this year. They did get beat up by Michigan a little bit, but Fautanu is going to be an all-pro guard. But if you need him to play tackle, the Dolphins may release Armstead. I don't think that they will. There are rumors about it, though. But you take Fautanu, you fit him with Robert Hunt, let Robert Hunt go, have Fautanu play that guard position there. He's going to be a stud. Protect Tua with all you got. At pick number 22, we have the Philadelphia Eagles taking corner Kamari Lassiter out of Georgia. Now, maybe it's funny that I took another Georgia guy for them. But there's a reason that they do it. It's because those Georgia guys are talented. Lassiter doesn't have a lot of stats. That's because they don't throw his way. People that watch Georgia know that Lassiter is a great corner. He only had 8 pass deflections, no interceptions this past year, but this kid is good. He's going to join his teammates in Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter on that defense. He's going to learn behind guys like Bradbury, who are older guys that can teach him a lot. Let him start as cornerback 4 or 3. Get him a little playing time. Don't throw him to the wolves yet. I do think he needs a little work. Cornerback Kamari Lassiter out of Georgia to the Philadelphia Eagles. At pick number 23, we have the Houston Texans taking wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. He's one of my favorite receivers coming off the board. I would say he's actually my second favorite receiver coming out of this draft behind Marvin Harrison. Like I said, Marvin Harrison is a generational prospect. Brian Thomas is my second favorite guy. He is 6'4". He has elite speed, and he has good hands. You're going to pair him with Nico Collins and Tank Dell. You're going to have 3 good corners to stop this team for the next couple of years because they're all cheap too. But pick number 23 is one of my favorite picks here. You got Brian Thomas Jr. going to the Texans. Pick number 24, the Dallas Cowboys take Amarius Mims out of Georgia. Now, this is the ultimate project guy. Big guy, has had a lot of injury history at Georgia, but when he's played, he's been good. And I don't trust any other team to make this guy better other than the Dallas Cowboys. I hate that they're going to get a guy like this because it's just they're adding on another guy. Tyron Smith's probably going to leave, and they're going to throw this guy in there, and he's going to be a stud. And it sucks, and I hate it, but Dallas should be excited about this pick. Amarius Mims, gigantic dude coming out of Georgia to come play tackle for the Dallas Cowboys. At pick number 25, we have the Green Bay Packers taking corner Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. Now, everyone is like, oh, he's going to actually play safety. If y'all haven't watched him, he is fast. This dude needs to play corner. He's not a safety. Just because he's a white dude doesn't mean he got to play safety. He can be better than Jason Sehorn, which is the only white corner that I can remember in the past however long. But this dude's a good corner. He has great coverage ability. He had 2 interceptions this past year. This guy is awesome. I don't know if this is actually his nickname. I've seen it about him a couple times, though. But I've heard that he's called the Tiger Hawk, and that is the coolest freaking name I've ever heard. So, Tiger Hawk out of Iowa going to the Green Bay Packers. At pick number 26, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This selection really changes based off of what happens with Mike Evans. But at the moment, they're taking wide receiver Keon Coleman out of Florida State. When he gets drafted, he's going to be 20 years old. And this dude is awesome. He had 11 touchdowns this past year for Florida State. He is 6'4", and he's going to be what Mike Evans was. You know, obviously, when you compare it, it's hard to say, yes, he's going to have 10,000-yard seasons. But he's big, he's athletic, he's fast. Bring the Florida State guy to you. The Buccaneers should be ecstatic about this, but if I'm telling you now, if Coleman runs a 4.4 at the Combine, he's going way before pick 26. At pick number 27, we have the Arizona Cardinals selecting defensive lineman Zaire Newton out of Illinois. Now this kid, he reminds me of Aaron Donald coming out of college. A little bit smaller, shorter arms, but he is strong. He was the Big Ten Defensive Player for a reason. Not a lot of people watch Illinois football, but I went just to watch him, and that's all I wanted. He's going to be good, and if he has half the career that Aaron Donald has, you're ecstatic about this pick at 27. He had 7.5 sacks for Illinois this past year. The Cardinals need a guy on that defensive line. Let Zaire Newton become that guy at pick number 27. At pick number 28, we have the Buffalo Bills taking wide receiver Troy Franklin out of Oregon. Gabe Davis, we know, is going to be leaving this offseason. But the Bills are going to find a replacement guy that might be a little more consistent than what Gabe Davis is. Gabe Davis would look like the next number 1 receiver and then all of a sudden have no catches for 2 weeks. Troy Franklin has great hands. He's fast. And for the first time, he's really going to have an elite quarterback. I don't think Bo Nix is elite. But Bo Nix was thrown to him at Oregon. He was the best player at Oregon for Bo Nix. Troy Franklin going to the Buffalo Bills. At pick number 29, I have the Detroit Lions, and I have them taking corner Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama. Their secondary is weak. They had a lot of guys play way above their heads, and that's awesome. Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to come in here. He's going to be a great corner for the Lions. He doesn't have the stats they had this past year. Maybe he fell because of it, but teams quit throwing to him. They threw to Teron Arnold instead, who turned out to also be unbelievable. Kool-Aid McKinstry is a good tackler. He's going to fit the Lions. He's going to be a static. Lions fans should be excited that they get the guy. Drink the Kool-Aid, Lions fans. It's going to be good. Pick number 30. I have the Baltimore Ravens taking edge Darius Robinson out of Missouri. Now, I don't think anyone shot up boards as much as this guy did after the Senior Bowl. He looked awesome. He's a big guy, like 300 pounds, and he's a freak. He's fast. You can put him in the interior. You can put him on edge. You can have him drop into coverage. He can do it all. He's going to go in there. Now, obviously the Ravens have the Madubuike situation, whether they franchise tag him or they re-sign him. If they happen to let him walk, this guy can be the replacement. Otherwise, put him with him. Make it more terrifying. You can't just double-team Madubuike anymore because you're going to have Robinson coming in because he's going to be hitting your quarterback as well. He had 8.5 sacks this year from Missouri, who's not considered a top-tier SEC team. He made them look good this year. At pick number 31, I have the San Francisco 49ers taking lineman Graham Barton out of Duke. Now, I'm disappointed he didn't play in the Senior Bowl. I was excited to watch him. Maybe I've learned that I have a thing for offensive linemen. But Graham Barton out of Duke, this kid's good. He played tackle at Duke. I think that he's going to more be a guard center, but he can play every position. He's kind of like Jackson Powers Johnson and Troy Fautanu, where he's kind of a plug-and-play type of guy, and he's going to be good no matter where he goes. He's going to dominate, though, at any position. The 49ers need that. Pick 31, Graham Barton to the 49ers. And with the last pick in the draft, the Kansas City Chiefs, who just cut Valdez-Scantling, is going to take a wide receiver. Adonai Mitchell out of Texas is who I have them selecting. He's one of my favorite players in the draft, but he's still not even my favorite wide receiver from Texas in this draft. But the Georgia transfer showed that he can be really good. He's going to get Patrick Mahomes, who's an elite quarterback. He's going to start as wide receiver 2 immediately behind Rice. I wouldn't question if he becomes wide receiver 1 at the end of the year. Chiefs fans should be ecstatic about this selection. But that's going to end the first round, and that's going to end Mock Draft 1. Please tell me what you think. Are you happy with your selection? Would you be pissed at this selection? Who do you think you should have taken? Why do you think that the player I picked for you isn't the right player for you? Tell me. If you love my draft, like the video. I appreciate it so much. Subscribe, share. I appreciate it, guys. And I will see you on the next one.